Showtime.
Dynamite download. Yay.
What is
we're
up?
Dynamite download. We're starting with out a thing all of a sudden. I guess that wasn't the intro, but this is your source for positive coverage of all elite wrestling. This is what wrestling should be all about. SPD. What's going on? So, yeah, I guess. Oh, you know what happened? I just clicked the countdown. I'm going to get rid of that and just put the actual countdown on next time. So that way.
We're here live.
We got so much to
We're
cover.
rolling.
We had such a packed show. That's why we had to get rid of our normal long intro and just.
That's right. There you go.
Right,
what is up, man? Episode 189. Long time no see after that awesome Double or Nothing chat with Brent and you. So it was a lot of fun the other night, and definitely indeed. And, we're still on the heels of that. A lot happened last night on Dynamite. I had to catch up. I watched the last hour live, and then I had to catch up the rest today due to some obligations I had. But I was like, whoa, I didn't get to see the opening segment live, which was really interesting, impactful. And then obviously, the women's match was pretty brutal. And then the trios. So much to talk about last night as we are on the road to All In. And we are officially 44 days away from the show. And I got a showcase, real quick. I'll show it right now. And I'll show it.
I noticed some new attire. I got to see this. Yes. Look at
Dynamite
this.
Download baseball jersey.
Official.
Got it custom made for All In. Hold on. Let me do a spin.
Nice. All right. Doing the Osprey pose.
I don't know if you could see that SPD there. Yeah.
That is sweet.
Custom baseball jersey for All In. Pretty sweet. Loved the way it turned out. Can't wait to rock it down in Texas.
Say, SPD, if I wanted to get a jersey just like that, where could I go?
Well, you can hit us up and we'll get a custom one made for you because these are custom orders. I got my number 19. That is the SPD jersey right there for the number that I always wear in my sports teams. And I really like how they put the logo right here on the shoulder too. So this came out really good. I'm really pleased with the material. And I love the script, the double script across the chest. Mm-hmm. So awesome stuff. So I can't wait to see how yours turns out. We're going to get the Mindrunner family is going to have some custom ones too, just different colors. We're going to be out there. One thing I did want to add to my wardrobe is a cowboy hat down there too.
Oh, why not just a cowboy hat, but if you've seen our videos, you've been following around on Twitter X, we want to get some horses. I think that's going to be a little too expensive, but yeah, we definitely want to get some cowboy hats perhaps and yippee-ki-yay ourselves down when we're down there.
Right. Black, red. I'm just responding some chat here. The jersey is red with black letters and white outline.
So you can be a part even if you're not joining us live in Texas, you can join us via satellite because we will be doing all kinds of performances while we're down there. So make sure if you want this Dynamite download drip, then you know where to find it.
Well, the elephant in the room, I gotta say, what was the final result, Mr. Tally Man, Tally Meet Mindrunner? Hey, Mr. Tally Man, Tally Meet Mindrun. Let's see where we ended season 5 draft.
I don't have that actually. I don't. I can't seem to find those numbers anywhere. But I think we're gonna have to. I suppose you want confetti too. But let's go ahead and get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the draft, and ladies and gentlemen,
wait, why don't I get the official? Jay, just because I'm taking the throne from Mindrunner, I don't get the whole red carpet treatment that you get.
Well, hey, hold on, we've got a super chat, so we got to do a super chat party first. Let's get right to it. Let's get a super chat party going first, and let's do a Super Stat Party. Here we go. Super Stat Party.
Right. That's right. We got to get a custom one with your magic AI skills for a salute, almost like a military salute for the general.
For the general, and remember, he's the general of the Thunder Army for Thunder Rosa. Until recently, I was Lieutenant Crunch. That was my moniker in the Thunder Army, but I have since been promoted. I am now Captain Crunch. So,
all right, Captain Crunch.
Let everybody know that. So, yes, though. Okay, without further ado, let's get to the performance here. Let's once again, for one more time, let's hear the music.
We bring the boom. That's what we do. We bring the boom. We bring the boom to you. We bring the boom. We bring the boom to everyone. We bring the boom. Your favorite father and son.
Every afternoon on your FYP.
We'll be bringing the boom around 3:15.
We bring the boom so loud the whole earth shakes.
With double chunk chocolate cookies.
And chicken bakes.
All right, hold on. We read him and weep, and we need the official, because he loves it. SBD gets the confetti. Congratulations.
Yes, I am a confetti mark, man. They gave us the confetti at Double or Nothing after Hangman won, so hopefully we'll see a rinse and repeat down at All In when he dethrones and frees the belt at the main event. We're going to be covered in confetti. I would love to see that. And then he'll come in and someone, Swerve's going to, here we go. I want to see this little turmoil there. But I want to see Swerve ride down to the ring on a horse to bring it to Hangman to ride out of the ring with the title on a horse.
Oh, absolutely. Now, that's what's they're going to ride in like Tombstone, because you're going to have, it's going to be Hanger, Swerve, Osprey, and Kenny.
Right.
All like Doc Holliday and everybody. I'm your Huckleberry. You got to get Swerve to tell Moxley I'm your Huckleberry at some point. That we got to get that. That's going to be tremendous. But good stuff. And we're going to ride in on a bunch of jackasses ourselves. But
literally,
I will say this: as much of a blowout it really turned out to be with you at the top, I had a lot of fun with this one, because really, if you kind of cover up that top name, it was really close. Between,
for sure.
Brent and Brian, 36 to 47, that's 11-point difference. It could have gone any direction. Right. So other than SBD hogging all the points, that actually turned out to be pretty good.
Honestly, not to give away some of my secrets, but like those plus threes, I got one or two. I got 2 or 3 plus threes because of the bingo cards, and look how dramatic that helped me secure the win comfortably on that. I love doing this fantasy draft, because it invests me more. Like watching the show last night, I was like, oh wait, there's my guy. Oh no, I got to start from scratch. So now it's back to like being doing the scouting report on who I'm going to draft. And so next Friday, June, it's already set for on our YouTube. Yeah. But Friday, June 6th night is draft season 6. So join us 10 p.m. draft season 6. We're going to do a live draft. We will do a random order generator live on air, and then we will continue to do the draft. As of now, same rules apply in terms of team size and team points. So all that still applies for right now, which we'll talk about as well on the draft. And you can see all the rules and the everything in our YouTube description. But this is going to go all the way to All Out. So in
Woo!
September 20th and All Out in Canada, our northern friends that we'll be doing starting next Friday.
Canada, eh?
We got to decide, mind, if the collision points are going to count. Actually, no, wait. Next week is 4 hours of television. So
Yeah.
there's no pre-tape. So yeah, once Friday hits, then it'll be a clean slate. And we will have the first points counting on the following Wednesday, which is June 11th. And so
Yep.
we'll go through June 11th through September 20th.
Woo! And we're gonna do our extra picks probably right after y'all in. Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, I think that I think that's a great idea after y'all in. We'll be doing live scouting in the crowd.
That's gonna be sick, dude. I'm super excited for y'all in. I've already bought my hobby horse, so I'll be ready to roll in. Yippee ki and it's gonna be very cool. Just kind of cool. Kind of cool how I felt like we kind of got the aftermath of Double or Nothing. We actually got some. Almost felt like bonus features, like a post credit scene. Like Dynamite last night felt like a post credit scene from Double or Nothing. And yeah, I felt like they actually did some of the stuff that maybe they originally had planned to do at the pay-per-view. Right. But anyways, what did you think of last night's? Are we still celebrating? Hold on, are we still celebrating? Did you get enough confetti? Did you get
Hold
enough?
on, one. Wait.
Two.
Wait for it. 3, 4. Since it's season 5, 5 rounds of confetti. All right, there we go. Okay, all right. We can move on. It was a lot of fun, yes, and it just invests me more. Not that I didn't need to be invested more into AEW television, but it is fun to, follow your favorites and follow your people who are on your team to get the points.
I'm glad. Was it good for you? Do you need to clean yourself up first, or are we good?
We're good. The jersey's fresh.
All right. Well, let's talk about. And of course, the image of the week. Well, if you don't know what this image is, this was the debut of Thekla. I've heard some people call her Tekla, but I guess is the H silent? I don't know. But she's the toxic. I always thought it was Thekla, but the Toxic Spider debuted in a bizarre Jamie Hayter. What are your plans next? And Jamie Hayter goes, everything goes dark, and then Thekla shows up and does a reverse crab walk, and interesting. But what a night of action! Your overall thoughts of Dynamite last night, brother?
Overall thoughts, it felt like it just. I loved the way the show ebbed and flowed. As we spoke on our recap show of Double or Nothing on Tuesday, how the commentator team kept saying like the bookending of the show, yes. Owen Hart. And really this year, this year more than any other year, was more importance was placed on the Owen Cup tournament. And I love that. I love that the AEW has created something that is that important throughout the last few years. And so to have this be the title shot and essentially the main event of the show of the year, I thought the opening segment and closing segments were both just a continuation of what we saw on Sunday. And I think that's very smart, because how often have we stopped and goed in a lot of feuds? You have these builds, and so often you're like, okay, then you don't even touch base on them, and then you move on. And so it's like, well, where did it go? Like, how come you spent all this time investing in it, and then all of a sudden it's just kind of like MIA, and then they'll recirculate a few weeks later. But I love that they just have continued the gas pedal on both of the winners of that tournament with Hangman and Mercedes. And I think it was a perfect, like, I like matches, I love wrestling, but storytelling in the right way is so impactful. Yeah. And the storytelling that we got at Double or Nothing, leading to Double or Nothing and continuing to Dynamite, was fantastic, with both Hangman story and Mercedes story. So I love the ebb and flow of this, and mixed in some good matches. But let's go to the opening segment with Hangman. Man, talk about a passionate promo. The guy is just, he has built his way to be such a genuine babyface, and quickly just going over the top of amazing, heartfelt, like pull on your heartstrings type of, like, you want to root for him, want to go to battle with him this whole time. And I just deep down inside, I felt like, as great as Ospreay is, I feel like you have to have a little sympathy and a little compassion for Hangman's story, and he's given it to us all. And being vulnerable, the vulnerability that Ospreay got out of Hangman is really something else, and it's easy to root for this guy going into All In. And not that we wouldn't, for nothing against Ospreay or anything that he's his body of work. This just seems like more of the redemption story. Seems so much more fun as a underdog babyface than an ascension story right now.
Absolutely. And just the way his promo, then the interaction with him and Swerve, and it's stuff you truly do see in like a Western. It's like they don't trust each other. Ospreay's coming in saying, bruv, listen, I looked in his eyes, he is the one. We got to back him because we love this company. Swerve doesn't trust it now, but this is just the beginning. Hangman refuses Swerve, and Ospreay's caught in the middle. He's going to have to bring them together, but you just know it's building up to one of those, I don't like you, but damn it, I respect you. One of those things, and I think that's what we're going to get, and we're going to get such an awesome payoff at the end of all this. And let's be honest. This is kind of, I will be shocked if Hanger doesn't win.
I know.
But I think that I at this point, I think it's like, that has to be it. This is the All In is the Super Bowl of AEW. You've got to bring it home. It's the story.
So many people like in the chat, like, you have to, especially with the arsenal and the army that you're creating. And look at this picture. This is the, three of the top guys in AEW right now, or in wrestling, period. And you have to give the people what they want after consistent pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view, Double or Nothing aside, of Moxley winning and everyone leaving kind of like down. And that's the perfect way to build it. Build Moxley winning, build the Death Riders, causing havoc. Don't leave on the confetti happy ending, and then give us the ultimate payoff at the end. And that's, I think, very mirroring of the first title win for Hangman. How he was down, anxious millennial cowboy, and trying to get everything, and then that pop and that win that he finally got was just legendary. And I think we're going to get that once again. And I'm here for it, man. And I hope we're going to be a part of history down in Texas in 44 days.
Absolutely. And speaking of making history, not only did we have history at the pay-per-view, but we also had history last night with this mixed trios. I feel like, I know how Tony's been funny about mixed gender matches, mixed trios, what have you. But I love that. I feel like people are warming up to this, especially when you have these badasses like, Willow Nightingale is the ultimate babyface badass. She was great. She was my top performer of Double or Nothing, which was said a lot. Marina Shafir, who, again, she's gotten a lot of flack, but what I've said for years is she needed to be with the Blackpool Combat Club, and now she kind of is. This is the best Marina Shafir we've had in AEW. She was great in Double or Nothing. She was great in this trios match. I also love watching Willow kick Moxley and Gabe Kidd's ass, and Marina was giving it to Speedball. It was going both ways. I loved all this. And again, three of the most over baby faces in the entire company: Mark Briscoe, Willow Nightingale, Speedball Mike Bailey. Come on now. You're getting an awesome match. I thought this was tremendous.
I'm happy that they're kind of dabbling in this whole mixed trios, mixed tag, mixed whatever. Like the fact that those two were added into Anarchy in the Arena, I think was incredible. And
Yep.
I like the element of Moxley taking out Willow. It, just adds to the heelness to it. And Marina taking out people and vice versa and all that in between. And it just shows like how badass both women are when they can hang with these top dogs in any of the matches, and especially Anarchy in the Arena. So I really did like that element adding to it. Not many of the women on the roster, I feel like, could have been involved in this. And they picked two perfect ones, in my opinion, to inaugurate that for Anarchy in the Arena. And both really showed up and did, played their role excellent in that Anarchy in the Arena and last night on Dynamite. That being said, like Gabe Kidd, man, I'm quick. He's like I feel like he's like Moxley's like brother. And, very similar attitude, very similar ring stuff. And, maybe down the line we'll see them as a tag team, which would be absolutely brutal in my opinion. But I really see a lot of similarities with Gabe Kidd and Moxley. And that's not a bad thing at all, because Moxley is very tough to clone in terms of his style and the way he carries himself. And so I really enjoyed this, the Gabe Kidd addition to this match. But yeah, babyface Briscoe has been like, just real quick, Briscoe, even though he's on Team Dynamite or SPD, has been just doing such great stuff, man. I have quickly becoming one of a huge Briscoe fan over the last 6 or so months.
I've always been a Briscoe fan. I've loved him since it was him and Jay. Before that epic dog collar match, which is one of the best matches of all time, most brutal matches, was the dog collar with FTR. I love that Mark Briscoe is growing a mohawk because he's not bald, so he can give Ricochet a hard time. I agree with my wife here. My better half is right. Stack could have been the Anarchy Arena, and I think I want to ask this question, but I kind of want to save it for the end of the show. But I just want to ask everybody to think about this as we go through this. Do you feel like a lot of the extras that happened last night on Dynamite may have originally been planned for Double or Nothing, but for whatever reason they didn't execute them because of stat watching, Thekla's debut? There seemed to be a lot of different things that seemed like maybe they were originally planned for Double or Nothing. And those of you that saw Eddie Kingston's rather colorful Instagram post about somebody leaking things to old Sean Ross Sapp there. Maybe there was somebody leaking something. I don't know. Anyways, great stuff. I thought this was great.
So,
I'm curious to
comment on your comment there.
Yeah.
As we talked about on our show about wanting the preview, wanting the surprises and wanting this, that, and the other thing, to play devil's advocate on your comments, I don't think it was a potential plan. I mean, maybe in theory, but not maybe like concrete, because focus on what you had. And I feel like the way the show was ebb and flowing, Double or Nothing, it wasn't necessary to have a Statlander backstage, a debut, a re-debut, any of that. So save that in your arsenal for when you need it, because you don't want it to overshadow the core matches that you had already booked.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think in execution, they made the right decision. Cause like once I stopped thinking about it, I was able to enjoy the whole thing. All right. We're going to go a little dark with the Raz is in the house. What's up, PR? We're going to, in light of Brody King's victory last night, we're going to go with the Super Chat Hounds of Hell. All right. Pretty
so
hard.
Creepy.
But when your super chats go metal, we go metal. Thank you, BR, for that.
Awesome. Yes, thank you so much. So real quick before we move on to our next segment, soon we are going to, in a few moments after we talk, maybe one more segment, we'll dive into this. Since we got a lot of you in the chat and a lot of our fam is here, we want everyone's feedback. And we talked about this last week. We are going to pick live our inaugural women's tag team tournament bracket. So the Dynamite download version of our women's tag team bracket. And speaking of that, we'll talk about it after this match. This is perfect segue, mine. Great, right on cue. We'll talk about this match, and after that, we're going to book out a 8-women tag team tournament bracket that we're going to fantasy book for the inaugural women's tag team championships. So we'll pick 8 teams tonight. Next week, we'll unofficially pick the teams that advance. But first and foremost, no DQ match. Exchanging wins over the last 4 days between both teams, and wow, this is even though TNA may have taken a little beaten, I think that was the perfect way it could have gone. A little bit of rough around their edges, but Bane and Ford, mega bad, that they are claiming themselves to be, are a force to be reckoned with. And we're talking about this fantasy booking a tag team tournament. What better team than these two to have the belts on for the inaugural tag team? I love that they're doing matching gear. Ford is adding, that headgear. We have kind of officially now a tag team name, and love the presentation with both of them. Ever since Ford has teamed up with Bane, I feel like both stock has rise dramatically on both of the ladies, and for them to really be a cohesive team and moving forward. I would love to see them continuing to tag right now, given the landscape of what's going on, and really just make AEW create a tag team title because of how dominant these two can be.
I think this is Tony and them dipping their toe in it right here.
Right, like I mentioned, I was like, you got to test it out.
Yeah, this is, like you said before, this is their dipping their toe in it. People are responding a lot. I like Steven made this comment that a lot of us were feeling, but I can't confirm or deny, but I think Taze may actually be. I don't know. You gotta watch the Sammy vlog. It's a little ambiguous, but Tay might be out for another 9+ months if you catch my drift. So that may not be an option, but I think I like TNA, which stands for tenacity and aggression, as we know. TNA, that's what it stands for. If you think it's something else, then get your mind out of the gutter. It's tenacity and aggression. And Pink Eye apparently from Double or Nothing. But I love this, and this was such a brutal match. And if you try to watch this on YouTube on the official AEW, they're now, I guess YouTube cracked down on them. So any color, they have to go black and white anytime there's a close up of blood. So
really,
you'll be happy about that, SPD. I had to bootleg some images because they were doing they were throwing some color, some on the they had to go black and white on some of these images. This was such a great, brutal match. I mean, I love how Harley Cameron and Anna Jay, for that matter, they didn't give up. But what I really felt like this was a showcase of how badass Megan Bayne is. She took multiple chair shots, and she didn't just, and she took them. This wasn't like chair shots. They walloped her with that chair, and she still came out on top. She took a power bomb, a chair and a power bomb into the table. And that's how you need to book. You need to make Megan Bayne a monster, and in a way she's galactic, to use a nerdy Marvel term, as my wife's going to shout nerd in just a moment. Megan Bayne is Galactus, Penelope Ford's the Silver Surfer, the Herald, so I think, this is a good combo. And I already feel my wife yelling nerd from the other room, but but I love this match, and I think this is going to be a feud that I'd like to see continue. And I would not be upset with either team being the first inaugural women's tag team champions.
Yeah, I mean, as much momentum as TNA got from Double or Nothing, I feel like a lot of that wind out of the sails was blown away quickly after last night. And that's not going to knock them down too much, but I feel like they both left bloodied, beaten, and lost. And I feel like that was a great way. They came in hot, storming down, trying to start the fight right away, and they brought it. They did bring TNA, brought it really good. However, like the right decision was made. Whether both ladies were meant to bust their noses or not, probably not. It played so much more to the story, to the dominance of Bane and Ford. Mega bad.
I don't know.
You need to book them that way.
I don't know if Harley really was supposed to get red or not. I mean, she may have really legitimately busted her nose, but I felt like this one. There was this. I remember it live last night, and I saw it happen with Harley, where she fell to the ground, and then I think she thought the camera cut, and you could see the picture in the upper middle where she kind of had this like, well, shit, my nose is broken or something like that. Like she kind of had this like. Like, well, here we go.
I saw like the doctor like pushing like around her thing, and she was waving him off. So I feel like they're looking for that. But kayfabe aside or not, but the picture in the bottom right with Anna Jay after the match, she kind of looked like dazed and confused.
Yeah,
for sure.
Remember,
so definitely was rock.
She had that rough power bomb through a table with Willow that one time. So it's tough. I do, before we get to this, we got to talk about that brutal bump that Adam Cole took in the Kyle Fletcher match, which, I guess it ended a DQ. I think they're parlaying that Kyle Fletcher going after the TNT title. Maybe that's going to happen at All In. I hope Adam Cole's okay. In fast motion, it looked like he hit his head on the apron. And as you know, the apron is the hardest part of the ring. But,
of course.
When I slowed it down, though, it actually looked like he missed the apron entirely, and it's like he took a bump on the floor. But he seemed to be able to continue. So heart goes out to the guy, but this dude has been snake bitten, and I hope I hope he's okay. But
if we're going to talk about that match briefly, because you brought it up, man, when this was announced and you were texting us, I think we're all in lockstep. Like, Fletcher's got to beat him. Like, there in no wrestling world, in my opinion, that Fletcher loses to Adam Cole clean. No world. And I know we got a DQ with Alexander coming in to possibly save the day, but the rise of Fletcher over the last 6 or so months, like, there's no reason he shouldn't beat Adam Cole cleanly and easily, in my opinion, in my personal opinion. So if and when this match gets brought back, because we saw what happened backstage, the fight. So obviously this isn't over with the Paragon and the Callis family and Fletcher and Cole for one-on-one. Maybe we get this at Arena Mexico, Grand Slam. Who knows? But Fletcher needs to dethrone him, even though Adam Cole's run has been, pretty anticlimactic ever since he's gotten the belt. Not many title defenses, but if they're pinning him against Fletcher, I do not want to see Fletcher lose to Adam Cole.
Same.
I don't care how big of a star he is or anything like that. There's just no wrestling world, in my opinion, makes sense for Cole to beat
completely.
Fletcher.
I mean, the Callis family's been taking a lot of L's, and for one of their top two guys to take another L in this situation, he needs the belt. And like you had mentioned before, have Paragon go after the trios, have them feud with the Ops or something. Fletcher's a perfect heel TNT champion, and I think he would be great, because then that sets up so many. I'd like to see Kyle Fletcher and Sammy Guevara for the TNT title. But without further ado, is it time?
It's time.
Let's talk women's wrestling tag team wrestling.
Let me refill my beverage and throw that up there. Okay. We're gonna be fantasy booking in the comments, everyone. What teams you want to make the cut? The top 8 teams. Mindrunner and myself kind of have some stuff. Who do you want to see go to head? First and foremost, we got to throw in Bane and Ford right away. Throw them in, and I'm gonna grab a refresh one second.
So I'm gonna put Bane and Ford first.
Okay.
I'm going to put them just in the center, and let's talk. I mean, and in the chat, tell us some of the teams you'd like to see. And we're going to go ahead and put the Mega Bad. We're going to put them in the left top bracket, the number 1 seed, just because of their sheer brutality. So we're going to put them in the number 1 seed. Full Tilt Deb says she wants Thunder Tits. Kyle Fletcher versus Nick Wayne would be awesome. I like that. Yeah, Thunder Tits. Here's the thing. Do we want to put Thunder Tits in here, or do we want to let keep them away because of Tony Storm is the champion? Do we want to keep current champions
Well, here's
out?
two paths we can take. Do we want to take this a realistic path given the landscape now, or do we want to take this a bold fantasy booking path? And so I think in interest of what's going on, we do a mostly given the landscape booking, in my opinion.
Okay.
And then we can throw in a few, hot takes.
Okay.
So how do you
right.
want to take it, mine?
Well, okay, so like realistic booking, as in like who's currently available. Like we're not gonna put Britt Baker in there, right? We're not gonna book her, and we're not gonna put.
Just kind of to piggyback on your same thought, like I would love Thunder Tits to go at it, but Timeless is the world champ. She has no time for the tag team titles right now. Given
like
that,
we're not gonna put Mercedes Moné in a tag team either.
No,
right? No,
right.
All right, but a tag team that I think is about to form, and I think they're going to feud again and beat each other up before. But let's talk. I mean, when you think of what's a powerful team that you'd love to see take on Mega Bad, I think we both were talking about. I'm talking about Stat and Willow. And
I would love to see this. And it could possibly be the finals. So I would put Stat and Willow as a number 1 seed on the other side with them reuniting.
So they're going I guess typically the number 2 seed is always like the bottom right. So we'll put them there. Does everybody concur? I mean, like that. I think that would be a great final. I think you're absolutely right. And then we talk about, of course, this was mentioned in chat a lot. Steven mentioned it recently. Bobby, I think, was mentioning this pairing, which I think needs more TV time. I'm kind of surprised that they're getting a lot of Ring of Honor time, and I guess if you count DeVry degree commercials or wherever she's, whatever her degree is, we are getting some commercials for Deonna Purrazzo, but the Virtuoso, is it the Mafia group there?
Right.
That would be a good tag team. I don't see them as the finals. But they would be a good tag team to put in here. And I think they'd be a good, I don't want to call them stepping stone heel tag team, but they'd be a good heel tag team to kind of put. So do we want to have them face Willow and Stat?
I would put them, in theory, I would like to see them face Willow and Stat in the second round.
Okay.
So that being said, I want them to get some momentum. I don't want them to, be a first round knockout selfishly in terms of booking. Like because I think both ladies are really great in the ring and deserve a little spotlight, deserve more than, a first round knockout personally. Mm-hmm. Now on the other side, same thing with Hart in blue or Sky Blue and Julia Hart. I don't want them to be a first round knockout either. So almost can put them at the other number 1 seed per se on the other side of the bracket.
Okay.
But now who would you want to see versus who? So
here's the thing to consider though. You also want to sometimes put those like oh shit matches. Like you see a lot of times in tournaments where they'll put a solid contender in a first round bracket.
Right.
So do we want to do round 3 of Mega Bad versus TNA?
Yeah, I think that would be good. A good opening round. Because each one has had a win on each team. So why not kick off the tag team inaugural tournament? The stakes are that high. And so have them run it back.
I like that. And there we go. Because that really puts some jeopardy now. Because now it's not a sure thing. that Mega Bad is going to win.
Right.
Let's talk about Willow and Stat's first round opponents. It's got to be a heel tag team. Do we
Queen
I have the Killer Queens, or I also have
I like
another
the Killer
tag
Queens.
team. We can put the Killer Queens. Now, this one is one of those things where we're pretty sure, who's gonna win this one, but we can put the Killer Queens here, and
That's
then we're
all
gonna
right.
want a babyface team against the Virtuosas. I was actually going to suggest this
Right.
to make this interesting. Club Venus. Or do we want Club Venus to take on Blackheart or Blueheart?
It's so hard, man. It's like such fantasy booking. I would do Club Venus over there with the Blue Heart.
Okay, Club Venus and Blueheart. There we go.
Yeah.
And the last team, as much as we love Thunder Tits, I have fantasy booking.
I see it.
My wife. All right, here we go.
My wife.
We have Marina Shafir and the debut of her real life BFF, Shayna Baszler. What do you think of that team?
Well, yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Or do we go with Thunder Tits? Let us know in the chat. Which would you rather see?
I would say the Baszler. I would say Marina and Baszler, just to kind of throw a cool wild card. Now, if you were to throw in someone like Athena or Jamie Hayter, who would you want them to tag with?
Well, okay, so like Jamie Hayter, okay. Jamie Hayter's kind of a solo.
I know.
Athena would likely tag with Billy Starks.
That's true.
But she's also Ring of Honor champion.
Right.
And then, would you put Hayter and Sheeta? Is there a storyline where you could put Hayter? See, that's the problem, though, is you don't want to just throw teams together. That's kind of what we're hoping to avoid but then they did that
right.
with, remember, Daddy Magic and the Butcher, and then when they threw, that's how we got Adam Cole and MJF. So I don't know. There's got to be some kind of thought process. Let us know in the chat.
Like Yuka Sakazaki and Sheeta or something.
Yep.
I'm looking at the women's roster right now. Yeah,
well,
we
here's
haven't seen Sheeta or Rio or Yuka in a long time.
Here's the issue with the Renegade Twins, Steven. I'm just going to be honest with you, and without getting into details, without pulling back the curtain, I'm not confident that there's going to be Renegade Twins in wrestling much longer. I think it's going to be Robin. I could see Robin teaming with Mercedes. I could see Robin teaming with somebody. I think Charlotte's going to be gone from wrestling for a while still. And, that she's got her own reasons, but I don't think we're going to see Charlotte back in wrestling. And so as much as I wanted the Renegade Twins to be the reason I wanted women's tag team belts in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. And it is what it is. So
I'm happy with this bracket. Obviously we're just fantasy booking this, and this is I feel like this is a good way. The 8 teams that are established right now, and that we have that next week. We will do our advancements in fantasy book round 2, and then every week we'll continue until we announce our inaugural winners of our women's tag team tournament for the tag team titles of AEW. That would be which would be fun. So I'm happy with it. You guys, thanks for everyone for the feedback, and we'll lock this in, and we'll touch base on it the next 1, 2, 3 weeks on it. So well done. Maybe we'll keep tagging Tony, and we'll keep tagging all the wrestlers, and we'll see if we can create some momentum and some buzz to really help solidify it happening.
Amen to that, brother.
Yeah.
Do you want
All right.
to get into a little celebration? A little celebration, the meat match. The Hills Have Eyes versus the Tattoo Dog. We had quite a battle here between these two. That was quite the meat match, and definitely. Is the Callis family taking too many L's?
That's the thing about heels. You have to have dance partners. Well, they keep trading. So like last week Collision, they took all the wins. This week, they're taking some L's, and so it's such a back and forth. And both wins and losses, I feel like don't matter that much at the moment, given some of these things. But you need to, as we touched on with the Fletcher stuff, you need to have those big wins matter.
Mm-hmm.
Those big matches and big wins matter most to really keep them credibility.
I am glad that they don't in AEW, they don't overuse the DQ finish much at all. So
Rarely ever.
When they did pull a DQ finish, it's almost like that's right, that can happen. So that's why I'm okay with it, because I think they're gonna parlay it a while. But Josh Alexander doesn't feel like the threat I thought he was going to be when he came in.
I still feel like he had a good showing last night, and I like his placement with the family, the Don Callis family for sure. It's working, and for those two, because if he was just doing all this stuff on his own and taking random L's and things like that, I feel like win out of sale would be gone quickly. But because he's part of the family, he's involved. In like trios matches and involved in these DQ stuff and involved in these beatdowns, it really helps his credibility.
And I like what Bobby's saying. I mean, in Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, Josh Alexander is the Maple Leaf champion. Let's book that match. Brody King versus Josh Alexander. Book it.
Sure.
How cool is Lance Archer as Callis's bodyguard, though? I mean, look at you got the Murder Hawk standing there behind Don Callis. I love it.
Yeah, and Callis plays into it on commentary all the time, so it's a lot of fun with that.
I think it's fantastic. And yes, once again, I think I know we gave it to you, but I just feel I'm so glad to see when Brody King gets a W, a well-deserved W. Dude's been working hard, so he gets a little confetti.
Well, so the thing with him, like he's featured in so many tournaments, and he comes up, just a little short every single time with the Continental Classic and other tournaments, and then this was kind of a tournament in itself to have the Fatal 4-Way. So it's like, at what point are they going to pull the trigger on him?
Not to derail, but just to your point, if you were going to put gold on him, what would you do? Where would you give him? TNT? Would it be world title? Would it be the Intercontinental Breakfast, whatever it's going to become when the unified title?
I still want him and Buddy to do tag team titles.
Yep.
Because I like that dynamic with those two guys.
Could they be the ones to come back and then eventually dethrone the Hurt Syndicate?
Yeah, 100%. I think they could. Right now, I don't see any immediate threats to the Hurt Syndicate.
Yep. I think you know me, but you think you know me.
Right. I mean, I would love to see that as well, but just given the landscape, and we were chatting on Instagram too, and we have said this before, the money feud is Cope reuniting with his ex-best friend Christian to take on his former best friends FTR.
Yeah.
Main eventing All Out in Toronto in their hometown.
In a TLC match, like you said.
Yeah, in a TLC match, might we add.
I still think you had to put the Hurt Business in there as the third to make it just like, to basically have FTR be the Dudleys and the Hurt Syndicate be, I guess, the Hardys. I don't know.
Well, that would protect them because they would not officially lose their titles, so it does make sense. I get it.
But
it would be fun to see them in that match. Some
days you just got to know that you've got to have yourself a crew. You got to get yourself a crew. Interesting.
Hot take. What do you think?
Well, he said crew multiple times. So, I mean, I don't see the only thing more obnoxious than Ricochet's outfit is the Pokemon coronavirus jackets that the crew, Action Andretti and Leo Rush been wearing. Now, granted, they're amazing in the ring. I actually like their shtick. They're good. They're great heels. And I could see them pairing up with Ricochet. And imagine that as a
Man.
trio. Ricochet and
I
Leo
mean,
Rush,
yeah.
Action Andretti. What do you think?
So personally, I would like to see him paired with bigger guys. Ricochet is awesome and is a perfect at what he's doing right now, period. However, like I don't want to see him be the leader of the pack with two smaller guys in the crew. Granted, those guys can go in the ring, and I like the what they've been doing and what they transitioned to the crew. I like them as a standalone. So, I saw something online, with maybe him aligning with Gates of Agony, so
Okay.
I feel like that would be, you have a shit talker in Ricochet who can walk the walk and talk the talk. If you have two meat bodyguards, meat guys protecting him just to really even talk more shit and do some dirty work for him, I feel like that's more impactful, in my opinion. Think MJF and Wardlow. Think Jericho and Hager. Like a lot of those leaders of crews have bigger beasts around them. And
who's
yeah.
who's gonna be a free agent soon?
Who?
Braun Strowman. He's been let go. He's just got to wait his 90 days. But do you see Braun Strowman standing behind Ricochet?
Braun has done such a good job transforming himself in his look, his career. It's sad to see him, play hot potato with WWE. Yeah. Is there a place for him in AEW? Possibly, but there's not a lot of people like him to compete against. Obviously you have the Big Bill and Archer.
Powerhouse.
I would welcome him. I've always liked Braun Strowman, so he's someone I would definitely welcome in AEW.
It would be Meat City. I mean,
right.
Meat match. You can finally have that Meat Mayhem. Him, Lance Archer, Big Bill, Brody King, Powerhouse Hobbs. Just call it Meat Mayhem and just have all these big guys in there. There you go, Bobby.
Your pick would be the crew joining with Ricochet?
That's what I think. That's what I think they're setting up.
I would pick the Gates of Agony right now.
Okay.
Anyone else have any hot takes picks?
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe it's something we're missing.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see.
I'm looking online right now. I'm trying to find a spike puffy jacket like the crew. If anyone knows where I can buy one, let me know. I want to get one for All In just for the heck of it, for like awesome. The stardom and for like, walking around the weekend before, just because I think it's obnoxious and hilarious.
I love it. All right, let's talk about it.
The bookending of the show. You started with the men's, you end with the women's, and it was vice versa for Double or Nothing. And I think like that was the right move. As I said earlier in the show, it's the right move to continue to push the importance of these matches going into All In, the importance of winning the tournament going into All In. And, I liked in the media scrum, how Tony Khan kind of full circled it, how, Mercedes, when she first came here, like, part of the reason she came is she wanted to wrestle Tony Storm. And so here we are 400 plus days later. It's hard to believe that Mercedes has been with AEW that long. It really is.
Yeah.
And side note, I saw something about Moxley will be in AEW longer than in WWE come October, which is another hard thing to believe, in my opinion. Like, I'm like, what? Which is incredible. Anyways, this face-to-face segment, man, it like, people are commenting in the chat and stuff, like, it's almost a coin flip what can main event All In. However, I want the men's to do it because I feel like that redemption story is that much better than Mercedes Ascension. The whole thing, I love the theme of those two, redemption and ascension. So I feel like that story is so much better for Hangman. However, like this feud, and for Tony to say, we're going to, have the best women's match ever, and I firmly believe that's going to be the case at All In.
Yeah.
And so we're in for a treat. We need to
I
buckle
think
up.
it's going to be tremendous. I mean, the fantasy booking, of course, I wanted Thunder there. I wanted, Wardlow to be with the Hurt Syndicate, just like, all of our fantasy booking. But realistically, from a booker standpoint, if you're from a,
Right.
if this is the Super Bowl, this is the WrestleMania of AEW, you're going to want these two face to face. This is the AEW women's division's Rock and Stone Cold right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
This is the Rock and Stone Cold, and I don't want Tony to lose because I love Tony, but I think Mercedes is going to win.
Really?
The only way I mean, I don't want there to be interference. I'd love to see Athena get involved again. I want them, because I do want Mercedes versus Athena, like a title for title thing. But
Right.
But champions don't keep the belt forever unless you're Athena. But I think I think they might be, just, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if that's going to be the outcome. So,
I mean, we have 44 days to build to this.
Yeah, maybe I'm just mentally preparing myself for disappointment or whatever. But again, please don't get me wrong. I'm not disappointed in Mercedes Moné. I love Tony that much. As I've said before, I think Mercedes Moné is fantastic. This is the best version of Mercedes / Sasha Banks that we've ever seen. And, as much as people bash on her, there's people that I understand, my wife is tired of Mercedes. I get it. But if she's a heel, if she annoys you, she's doing what she's supposed to. Now, granted, Full Tilt Deb also hates Bryan Danielson and is tired.
Hey, now, don't.
I understand her reasons for that too. I mean, I got that, but I think she's playing a good heel, and I think that this. But I feel like her in-ring and her promo skills have improved tremendously up to this point. But she still cannot out promo Tony Storm in this back and forth. Tony, as much as Mercedes was keeping up with her, Tony Storm literally promoted her top off, because I think by the end Mercedes lost her straps or something. She was kind of trying to hold herself up a little bit, but Full Tilt Deb, yep, she's a boring heel. Okay, respect, but I think I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Tony's got to win,
and I have good taste in women.
Yeah, Tony Khan kind of coined Tony Storm, an OG, even though she's not an OG AEW in the media scrum. Tony's got to win. Then this will start the spiral of Mercedes starting to lose all her belts. The belt collector Kenny lost his belts eventually too. So I feel like long-term story, this will start the downfall of Mercedes, and then she'll ultimately lose all her belts. She'll be down, and then she'll turn babyface and have a character redemption story afterwards. And so I feel like that would be the start of it at All In. That
could be
4 belts, 5 belts, whatever. Monet is going to slowly lose her belts. Then she'll, someone will challenge her for the TBS title. She'll lose that, and then the next belt and the belt, and then she's just going to have to find, soul search and find, the next version of the CEO, and then that'll turn into babyface CEO, and it'll be great. And I think that'll be great. There's no benefit of her winning the title to have an additional title.
Yeah.
Given the landscape of the women's division, Tony Storm can do no wrong and has been clearly captivating nonstop on everything she's done.
Love it. Top performers, dude. I went with Brody King. Tremendous. And this is almost like when you give Denzel Washington an Oscar for a movie that wasn't as popular, but it's kind of acknowledging all of his past performances. This top performer goes to Brody King, because last night's match was I would say over a year coming. It's great to see him continue ever since he choked out Darby Allin off the apron.
Oh, so great.
Brody King has emerged as such a dominant wrestler. He just needs some momentum, needs some wins. I love seeing him in the Continental Classic.
Yes.
And last night he and Josh Alexander put on quite a meat fest, and I'm just so happy that he got the W last night.
I was going back and forth. I try to pick someone different just so, topic of conversation. But
Yep.
you mentioned it on a show recently of how well Fletcher can sell and emote emotionally
Yes.
and facials and things like that. And so that, to me, like what he did last night too, as I spoke on how there's no way I see Adam Cole ever beating Fletcher, but Fletcher made us feel like Adam Cole was a bigger star than he is because of his ability to sell. And so the art of selling, Fletcher has that. The art of offense, he's got that. He's the total package, man. I mean, he's got it all, and it's awesome to watch his rise. Yeah, the rise that he's been having over the last year or so with everything that he's doing. So that's why I picked Fletcher, and of course the backstage stuff with the continuation of the feud. That wasn't just it. We're gonna see more, and I'm excited for it for the next TNT champ, Kyle Fletcher.
What if he defeats Adam Cole for the TNT title in the next few weeks, and then this is the TNT matchup for All In?
Yeah,
Kyle versus Brody King.
I would support it for sure.
Yeah, I know. We went tag team. We want Brody and Buddy back, but together as a team. But yeah, man, I'd be down with a Brody King versus Kyle Fletcher. That'd be pretty sick.
Sign us up.
Yep.
Two big guys.
Yes, and credit to Ospreay, and I think non-kayfabe. I think Kyle Fletcher does credit Ospreay a lot with his improvement. But you're right, Ospreay should get a lot of credit for helping the elevation. Shows how even in defeat, the cage match, you can be elevated even with a loss. Absolutely. Yep, definitely. Good point, PR.
Yeah, once again, I'm going to showcase the custom Dynamite download jersey that we just got made. Fits great, love it. And this is getting prepped for All In 44 days. And here we go. Let me spin around once again. It's me. It's SPD. And so that is loving this jersey so far. So it's going to be ready to roll when we get down to Texas at the Globe Life Texas Ranger Field for All In. You guys, thank you so much for joining us for tonight.
If you're late to the party, don't forget, if you're late to the party, yay! Yay, Finnegan.
Two-time champ, SPD. Two-time champ, baby.
Look at that. Congratulations, champ. Great job.
Oh, I love that, Brian. That's awesome, man. Rocking the DD shirt and appreciated the logo.
Nice.
Thanks for sharing that. Cool comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys enjoy Collision Saturday. Once the playoffs end, it'll be aired. And we'll be back for Busy Week next week. Episode 190, Thursday. Draft, Season 6, Friday night, 10 p.m. If you want to be a part of it, let us know. A lot of our repeaters will see you there. And we'll be doing our draft, Season 6, Friday night live.
And was it 47 days? 48 days?
44 days.
44 days. We'll see you in Texas.
That's right.
Yippee-ki-yay.
I'm your huckleberry.